Mercy, our beloved flying doctor, is known for babysitting the team and dodging more bullets than Kiriko has avoided nerfs. She's a popular pick, but also an easy target for every enemy hero with a grudge. If you're tired of being the punching bag and want to become the most unkillable support, or climb the ranks with style, this is a guide for you. Today, I'll be dishing out pro tips on how to survive and thrive against every hero. In case you're new here, I'm Sireno, a proud Mercy and support main. I started in Silver and worked my way up to Grandmaster and Top 500 with over 1200 hours on Mercy. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I'm still very new to YouTube, so your support means the world. And if you enjoy this video, go ahead and check out my previous video that I posted last week, which provides tips for enabling every single hero in the game. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I'd like to start off by providing a general tip for all heroes. As Mercy, you're like the team's tactical commander with wings. Use that bird's eye view to your advantage. You're not going to be in the middle of crazy aim duels, so keep an eye on enemy ultimates and call them out. That goes for enemy key abilities as well, which I'll try to guide you through in this video. If you notice someone's out of position or limping around with low health, you better ping them. Think of yourself as the team's guardian angel and their comms captain. Trust me, talking is OP. I know it can be scary to calm sometimes, but sometimes the key to winning games is to not be the quiet Mercy that's just floating around. With that out of the way, let's start with our general tank tip. Tanks may be tough, but they're not exactly known for their long-range skills. Make it your mission to learn each tank's attack and mobility range, and stay out of that danger zone like it's a no-fly zone. Most tanks struggle with damage output, so while they're lumbering around looking for a target, you can be that pesky support who's just out of reach. Think of yourself as a fly buzzing around their heads. Just remember, if you're in their face, you're probably in trouble and will get swatted. Now let's get into each hero tip. D.Va.
Thanks for your support!
D.Va's boosters have a cooldown of 3.5 seconds, which means she's ready to dive you faster than you can say, "I need healing." To stay one step ahead, conserve your Guardian Angel tech usage. With a cooldown of only 2.5 seconds, D.Va can easily match your moves. So it's often smarter to hold off on using Guardian Angel, as well as tech such as Super Jump and Slingshotting, until she commits to her dive. That way, you won't be caught with your wings clipped when she decides to swoop in. And let's talk about resurrecting. Be careful. A skilled D.Va will boop you away before you can even say rise and shine. So if you see her nearby, maybe hold off on that res until the coast is clear. Remember, the best way to keep your team alive is to stay alive yourself. You can't carry games if you're dead. And by now you should know you can't trust your teammates to carry your games for you. Doomfist.
Try me.
Doomfist thrives on isolating you from your team, turning you into his personal punching bag. To avoid becoming his next target, maximize on your beam link and keep your distance from your teammates. Stay far enough away so his punches aimed at them don't send you flying as collateral damage. And when dodging his punches, think of him as a charging bull. He's coming in hot and you need to sidestep like your life depends on it. You can also use quick super jumps to hop above his head, but tread carefully. Doing this near hit scan characters is like throwing a picnic in front of a hungry bear. You might end up as their snack instead. Junker Queen.
Hot enough! It's only buckshot!
Junker Queen isn't usually a huge threat as long as you maintain your distance. If she throws a knife your way and lands it on you, hold onto your Guardian Angel until after she decides to yank you back. Otherwise, it's like she's inviting you to a very unwanted game of tug-of-war. Keep an eye on her ultimate too. When you sense it's coming, or haven't seen it in a while, alert your team and ping her location so everyone knows how to position. Remember, her charge has a massive hitbox, so it's best to sidestep to the sides rather than hiding behind or within your teammates. And if she does manage to hit your team with her ultimate, which she likely will, prioritize healing teammates who aren't purple. If you heal someone who's anti-healed, you're about as useful as a paper umbrella in a rainstorm, so focus on damage boosting them instead. Your goal is to keep your team alive and supported, not prove that Mercy can be ineffective in style. Mauga.
We got him where we want him.
Mauga is often a pretty predictable character, making it easy for you to keep your distance and play smart. When he activates his cardiac overdrive, focus on healing teammates he's targeting to keep them alive. If you see him charging at your team, act fast. Either heal the poor soul he slams, or damage boost a high damage DPS to take him down quickly. Mauga's slam can be punished since he has no movement options afterward, and his team might not be right there with him. By damage boosting teammates who are ready to focus on him, you can bait out a lot of reactionary cooldowns, making him feel like he's walked into a surprise party he wasn't invited to. Also, keep an eye on Mauga's ult economy. When he has it, stay far away. If you get caught in his ultimate, it's game over. You'll be eliminated faster than a bad pun in a comedy club. Orisa.
You wish to ride me into battle?
Orisa shouldn't be a major threat to you as long as you play it smart. Just keep healing whoever she is targeting. And you'll likely keep your allies alive long enough for your team to burst her down. As a bonus tip, consider damage boosting beam damage heroes like Zarya, Mei, Symmetra, or Echo, especially when they're focusing Orisa. She can't block their damage, so it's like giving them the green light to go full throttle. Just remember, when Orisa's on the field, teamwork makes the dream work. So keep those heals flowing and watch your health melt away like butter on a hot day. Ramattra.
Greetings.
When facing Ramattra, keeping your distance is key, especially when he's throwing punches. He moves like a freight train and can punish you faster than you can say, "Oh no, not again." I personally like to save Valkyrie for whenever he uses his ultimate. With your chain beams, you'll likely heal off excess chip damage from his aura while staying far enough back to avoid becoming his next target. Just think of it as a game of tag, but you're not it. Keeping your distance, especially with Valkyrie, lets you heal your teammates without becoming a casualty in Ramattra's rampage. Reinhardt.
You're on my naughty list.
When facing off against Reinhardt, go all out with that damage boost. He's not going to be much of a threat once he has to hold up his shield. And don't hesitate to use Guardian Angel to zip above him and give him a taste of your pistol if he's sitting at 1 HP. After all, Mercy with her Barbie blaster is like a bee with a stinger. Surprisingly effective, but a little bit risky, so be careful. And just like with Mauga, if Reinhardt charges in, use that damage boost to apply some serious pressure. A great tactic is to pop Valkyrie when he charges in. Mass damage boost can make him melt faster than ice cream on a summer day. Just try to remember, Valkyrie won't do much to keep teammates alive after he shatters, so save it for when you can actually make a difference. Lastly, always prioritize boosting the highest damage heroes when focusing on Reinhardt. You want to support a teammate who can burn through his shield the quickest, turning him from a towering wall of armor to a falling deck of cards. Roadhog.
Say bacon one more time.
Think of Roadhog like the Widowmaker of tanks. Avoid peeking him at all costs. You definitely don't want to end up hooked. Nobody likes a surprise hug from a giant with a shotgun. If one of your teammates does get snagged, which they probably will, you can sometimes save the day by quickly switching your heal beam to them. Make sure to call out when you see Roadhog low on health. He's a big target with limited movement options, so if your team focuses on him based on your callouts, he's likely to go down faster than a piñata at a birthday party. Just remember, keep your distance and keep your comms clear, and you might just be the hero who saves the day. Or he could rule your lobby. You know, that happens too sometimes. Sigma.
What is that melody?
When it comes to Sigma, be extra cautious about resurrecting near him. His rock is lethal, and it can cancel your res faster than you can call the wambulance. And if you see someone get hit by his rock, quickly focus on healing them to prevent them from getting burst down. After all, nobody likes a surprise trip to the respawn room. And if you do find yourself caught in Sigma's ultimate, don't panic. Instead, try to heal a teammate who's taken damage to keep your own health above 50% through sympathetic recovery. This way, you can survive the slam and keep on healing, like the perfect E-Kitten that we all dream to be. Well, maybe you don't want to be the E-Kitten, but I do, and this is my video, so deal with it. Winston.
Hi there.
When played right, Mercy can be a surprising counter to Winston. Your healing can neutralize his damage, and you can even heal through his bubble. Just remember to space yourself far enough back from your teammates to avoid taking damage from his leaps aimed at others. To survive Winston's onslaught, wait for his jump before flying to a distant teammate. Use hard cover to encourage him to abandon his chase. For example, if you're on high ground and a Winston jumps you, you can drop down, have him follow, then swoop back up immediately. One of the absolute best strategies against a Winston dive is to heal pocket whoever he is targeting. This can seriously diminish his effectiveness and make him feel like he's trying to play dodgeball with a shielded teammate. Most players won't have the sense to step out of a Winston bubble to get healed by your other support, so it's up to you to keep them alive while they're cut off from the rest of the team. Additionally, Conserving Valkyrie for his Primal Rage is also a game changer. It allows you to keep your teammates alive while making it incredibly tough for him to take you down, just as long as he doesn't pin you into a corner. And if Winston dives you in the backline, don't panic. Standing still can be your best defense against a solo monkey dive. Your second support won't have to aim to heal you, making it easier for them to keep you alive as long as they have line of sight. Just remember, when the monkey's swinging your way, a little silliness goes a long way. I'm gonna throw up after saying that. Wrecking Ball.
Area denied.
Wrecking Ball is going to try to be your shadow if he plays smart, so get ready for some serious acrobatics. Keep your distance from your team, but try to not play too far away from them so you don't get isolated. You want to force him to choose between solo slamming you or getting more value from slamming all of your teammates. If he's already on top of you and primed to slam, I recommend saving your Guardian Angel until after you're slammed. If you activate it too soon, it might get cancelled and you'll have no escape route. Focus on healing the target of his dives, switching your heal beam to whoever he's aiming at while keeping your eyes peeled. I want you to forget about your time spent healing and damage boosting and just focus on helping your teammates. Healing targets that are being dove is one of the best ways to win games as Mercy, as your primary job is to keep your teammates alive. If enemy dive heroes aren't getting picks, they're no longer considered playmaking, they're now considered feeding. As a bonus tip, if you see Wrecking Ball getting hacked, slept, or hit with any other form of CC, that's your cue to damage boost, and you'll get to watch him burn down incredibly fast. When a Wrecking Ball is in play, always keep your head on a swivel and listen out for his rolling sound, so he doesn't sneak up on you like a cat in a ninja suit. Pinging him will also help your team prepare to take him down, turning his aerial acrobatics into a one-way ticket to respawn. Zarya.
Огонь по готовности!
When facing a Zarya, your best bet is to keep your distance and heal any teammates caught in her beam. Make sure to call out when you see her use both bubbles, because that is your golden opportunity to attack. There's not much else to do other than stay alive and keep your teammates upright long enough to take her down. Once those bubbles are gone, crank up that damage boost and watch your health bar drop. If you find yourself caught in Zarya's Graviton Surge, prioritize healing your other support. You'll want to keep them alive to help your team escape the gravitational mess. After all, nobody really likes a crowded party, especially when it's in a black hole. And now, moving on to the DPS heroes. As a general DPS tip, when it comes to damage boosting, your DPS teammates are often your best bet. They have smaller hitboxes and make your heal beam feel a little bit more effective. Focus on helping those who are actively taking off angles. By teaming up with the DPS on an off angle, you force the enemy to make a tough choice. Either focus on the objective and leave themselves open to being picked off, or divert their resources to deal with you, effectively ignoring the point. Keep an eye out for DPS 1v1s, as your pocket healing can often tip the scales in their favor. Imagine you're in a duel, ready to take down the enemy, but a pesky enemy support swoops in at the last second and saves the day. You want to be that annoying support who swoops in and denies that enemy the sweet 1v1 victory. Just think of it as being the sidekick who always has your teammates back. Now when it comes to tips against surviving against enemy DPS, remember that their mission is clear: to find and eliminate you. To survive, make hard cover your best friend and not try to peek at enemies unless absolutely necessary. As simple and silly as it sounds, remember, the less damage you take, the harder it is for them to take you down. As long as you're alive, you can provide value and bring teammates back into the fight, because let's face it, you can't carry the game from the respawn room. Try to keep an eye on the scoreboard to see what kind of DPS composition your enemies are running, and try to adjust your playstyle accordingly. If you see snipers on the enemy team, it's time to stick to the ground and stay behind walls, like you're playing a game of hide and seek. But if they're rocking something like Junkrat and Symmetra, consider taking to the skies. Just try your best to think about the goals of the enemy DPS and predict how they'll try to take you and your team down. As Mercy, you're not just a support, you're supposed to be a tactical mastermind. So be sure to adjust your strategy and outsmart those pesky DPS mains. Starting off with Ashe.
Bullseye.
When dealing with Ashe, your motto should be, hard cover is life and peeking is death. Before advancing with your team, try to map out where you can hide, and choose your standing spot wisely. You really don't want to be the dummy in Ashe's game of target practice. If a teammate gets picked off by Ashe, hold off on the resurrection for a few seconds. Why? Because she loves to throw her dynamite like it's confetti at a birthday party. And you definitely don't want to be the guest of honor in that explosion. Also, keep your ears peeled for her shots. Listening for those bullets will help you figure out where she's lurking, giving you the intel to find the best cover. Remember, every second you stay safe is another second you can revive your teammates and keep the heal train rolling. Bastion. When facing Bastion, just like any other hit scan, your mantra should be hard cover, hard cover, hard cover. When he activates his ultimate, your best bet for survival is to take to the skies with a super jump. Just be sure there aren't any other hit scans around or you might find yourself a target practice dummy instead of a flying healer. Another tactic to survive his ultimate is to create as much space as possible between you and your allies. This way, when you fly away, you'll have the speed and distance to escape that explosive chaos. Remember, don't clump up with your teammates. Otherwise, Bastion's bomb will land with the impact of a surprise birthday party. Everybody gets blown away, and nobody gets the cake. Make sure to call out when Bastion finishes his turret form so you and your team know when it's go time to push. After all, once he's out of that sentry mode, he's more vulnerable than a cat in a dog park. If that's a thing. Cassidy.
Hey there.
With Cassidy, your strategy should revolve around cover and distance. Since Cass has a shorter range than other hitscan DPS, keep your distance to avoid getting caught in his damage fall-off zone. But if you hear him close by, don't get too comfortable behind those walls. He might just roll out like he's on a mission to burst you down faster than you can even say high noon. The best tactic is to back up as you see him approaching and to try to avoid taking any chip damage. Remember, every bit of health you can save makes it harder for him to eliminate you. After all, you're trying to be a healing hero, not a healing target. And definitely do not get close enough to let him hinder you, especially during Valkyrie, otherwise you'll be a very easy target. Echo.
Rose toy.
Echo is like a stealthy ninja you never see coming. She hardly makes any footstep sounds, so you'll want to keep an eye on the skies and watch your back like you're in a horror movie. If she manages to land her sticky bombs on you, it's either time to find your other support or find a quick heal pack. It's like a game of tag, but with really high stakes. And yes, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but remember, playing cover is always key. You want to be the elusive butterfly, flitting around and avoiding her sticky bombs. Move unpredictably and avoid standing still. The less predictable you are, the fewer chances she'll have to land those pesky bombs on you. After all, the only thing you should really be sticking to is your teammates, not the explosives. Got it? Genji.
I need healing.
Genji is a ninja on a mission, always trying to close the distance and dive right into your healer heart. Your best defense? Stay inside of your other support so you can survive his dash. Because, let's face it, getting dived by a Genji is about as fun as stepping on a Lego brick. One clever trick is to use your guardian angel to dash to someone as soon as he makes his move. As long as you manage to survive, he'll be left with no movement options to chase you down, like a cat that missed his jump. You can't out-heal a Genji blade, so a good strategy is to damage boost teammates in hopes of taking him out before he racks up those sweet, sweet eliminations. Ideal targets for damage boosting Genji's ult when it's active is Zarya, Cassidy, Mei, Symmetra, or any other heroes with AoE burst damage like Ana or Venture. If you can help get Genji low health while he's blading, he might start using Deflect. Remember, if he's deflecting, he's not dealing damage, so it buys you some precious time to keep your team alive. When you haven't seen a Genji blade for a while, communicate with your team to prevent him from getting value. Many ults can shut down his blade, like Zarya's Grab, Sigma's Flux, Sombra's EMP, Zenyatta Transcendence, and so on and so forth. Provided your team listens to you in your callouts, you can definitely deny almost all of its potential value, and especially if he's nanoed, that's even more reason to shut him down. Finally, if it looks like you're not going to survive his blade, especially if Genji has a sight set on you specifically, try your best to fly as far from your team as possible. If he eliminates you, the goal is to make sure his dash can't reach other teammates of yours. That way, he essentially solo ulted you, which is much less value than a team wipe. You may go down, but at least you can take the ego boost of knowing you made him work for it. Hanzo.
What?
First rule, don't peek his spam. Seriously, that's a one-way ticket to the respawn room. Keep an eye on his location so you can avoid those surprise arrows. Trust me, you don't want to be the dumb Mercy caught in his highlight reel video. If there aren't any hit scans around, you can take to the skies and play around hard cover to improve your survivability. Just be sure you have hard cover pretty close by, as the storm arrows have a good way of ruining your day, even if you're floating gracefully above the ground. Also, keep your ears perked for his sonar arrow. If you're spotted by it, you're like a deer in the headlights, making it way more likely that you'll be the target of his next arrow. So, in short, if you see the sonar arrow or hear it, it's time to channel your inner turtle. And just don't peek. It's that simple. Junkrat.
G'day, mate.
First rule of the Junkrat Club, don't go into small rooms with him. Seriously. With the kit kinda geared around being the most explosive, I don't think you want to be trapped in anywhere small with him. When Junkrat unleashes his Tire of Doom, it's time to channel your inner damage booster. Find the longest range, highest damage DPS on your team and give them some love. Listen closely to the sound of that tire revving up and don't hesitate to ping it. Chances are, it's coming for you, so your goal is to help your DPS blow it up before it can blow you up. But if you happen to find yourself with a team that's a little clueless, do your best to hide away until the tire passes. And try not to forget, if it comes down to it, you can always whip out your trusty Glock and give that tire a taste of Mercy's justice in a pinch. And maybe die valiantly for it. But at least you tried. Mei.
冻住，不许走。
When a Mei walls off your teammate, don't panic. Try your best to fly up and attach your beam to keep them alive. After connecting your beam, feel free to drop behind the wall or find some cover. Safety first. And remember, Mei's walls aren't just a barrier for her. They can also double as a makeshift shield for your resurrects. Just be careful she doesn't put it down, or you might be in trouble. If you're looking to take a Mei down, don't hesitate to damage boost teammates targeting her while she's in her ice block. You want to make sure their damage is enough to melt her once she comes back to life. To avoid being frozen, your best bet is to maximize your beam range and stay clear of clumped teammates. If things get really dicey, you can react quickly and fly to a teammate standing outside the freezing zone. It's all about the quick thinking. In overtime situations on hybrid and escort maps, I like to save Valkyrie for when Mei unleashes her ultimate. While Mercy can't really out-heal frozen teammates, Valkyrie lets you attempt riskier resurrects. Plus, you can contest payload with some nifty movement. You don't need to park yourself on the payload. A quick touch will do. So if you see Mei ulting the point, swoop in with Valkyrie to keep that point alive, but watch out about getting frozen by lingering too long. As one last warning, be super cautious if Mei is standing in a Juno ultimate. Her icicles can absolutely one-shot you with that 35% damage boost. And this applies to all heroes with 225 HP or less. In case you decide to swap, now you know. Pharah.
Justice reigns from above.
To effectively counter Pharah on Mercy, I recommend staying off the ground. This makes it much harder for her to land those pesky rocket hits. I often use short Guardian Angels without any fancy tech moves to mix up my movement and to keep things unpredictable. The more you're moving, the harder it is for Pharah players to take you out. When it comes to damage boosting, as I'm sure you know, prioritize hit-scan players or characters who are more likely to eliminate Pharah. You won't really get far by boosting a Junkrat or a Venture, compared to at least a Soldier or an Echo, who can more easily deal with her, especially from greater distances, where you'll be safer. As long as she isn't too close, you can usually dodge her rocket barrage while airborne. And remember, don't hesitate to whip out your Glock when Pharah is immobile during her ult. Think of it as a cute little sassy moment where you say, "Surprise! I'm a support, and I can still shoot too!" Reaper.
It's in the refrigerator.
Keep your head on a swivel and listen closely for Reaper's teleport sound and footsteps, as he tends to play much flankier in recent seasons. Once you spot him, call out his location to your team and make sure to ping him. This will give everyone a heads up to avoid getting caught off guard. A key moment to focus on Reaper is after he uses his Wraith form. Communicate with your team when you see him exit it, as this is his most vulnerable moment. Focusing him down in that window can lead to an easy elimination. And do not forget about Death Blossom. If you haven't seen it used in a while, keep your eyes peeled for him sneaking up. If you see a Reaper approaching a group of clumped up teammates, GTFO! Otherwise you're about to witness a Reaper cook-off, and trust me, nobody enjoys being on the menu. Sojourn.
This ends now.
Against Sojourn, the best strategy is to stay out of her line of sight, surprise surprise, and avoid taking damage from her disruptor shot. The farther away you are from her, the easier it is to dodge her projectile spam. Remember, the less damage you take, the fewer railgun shots she can build. But even though you might still be playing it safe, she can still charge her railgun off your teammates, so make it a point to use cover at all times, especially during her ultimate. There's absolutely no reason to peek her, just resist the temptation. Soldier 76.
I've got you in my sights.
This is an absolute game-changing tip, and I guarantee you didn't guess it. It's play cover. That's pretty much it. Just play cover. But when you are behind cover, be sure to predict where he might land his Helix rockets, since their explosion damage can still harm you even without direct line of sight. Avoid standing too close to walls, pillars, or cars to minimize damage. Soldier 76 will likely target you specifically with his ultimate, especially when you pop your Valkyrie, so make sure to mentally note his position and know which cover you can retreat to at all times. As a niche tip, your Valkyrie can slightly increase his time to kill. Focus on healing low health teammates as much as possible. The more you heal, the better. Your health regeneration will help offset some of his damage, allowing you to survive longer while finding safer cover. Sombra. Oh boy, this character is so fun for Mercy players. First of all, get in the habit of holding tab at the beginning of a game to check for a Sombra on the enemy team. If she's present, try to stay close to your other support and keep your team grouped up. Sombra really thrives on isolating targets, so the more clustered you are, the better. You can even use teammates to body block her damage, just position them between you and her. Remember, you can heal them while they take damage. As long as Sombra isn't targeting you, she'll struggle to secure eliminations if you pocket her dive targets. Keep an ear out for her hack sound and react as quickly as possible. When it comes to resurrecting, only do so if you know Sombra has fled entirely. Otherwise, you just risk getting hacked and eliminated yourself. Often, it's better to skip the res against Sombra altogether, as staying alive is much more valuable. During your ultimate, you can secure resurrects much more easily. A fun little trick is to bait out Sombra's hack by floating over a downed teammate without actually rezzing. Sombra players can be impatient and will usually hack you regardless, allowing you to safely resurrect once she's used her cooldown. Finally, it's a little bit more difficult, but try to predict when she'll use her EMP. Valkyrie is incredibly strong against EMP, allowing you to quickly heal off her AoE damage with your chain beams. Sombra will likely target your team whenever they're grouped, either before an engagement or during a big fight. If you time your Valkyrie right before she uses EMP, you can nearly nullify its value. And if you time it wrong, don't worry too much. Mass damage boosting is still incredibly strong and ideal to use. Symmetra.
Welcome to my reality.
Symmetra can't really do much to you while you're in the air, so take advantage of your mobility. Make sure to ping her turrets or shoot them down yourself, and avoid letting her close the distance to you. When Symmetra uses her ultimate, it's crucial to keep track of which teammates are on the opposite sides of her photon barrier, especially those standing on the wrong side of your other support. Since your healing beam ignores shields, it's your responsibility to keep those walled off teammates alive, as most supports cannot heal through Symmetra's wall. By staying vigilant and responsive, you can mitigate Symmetra's impact on the fight and ensure your team stays alive in-game. Torbjorn.
Hello!
First things first, be sure to ping that turret and rally your teammates to shoot it down, because letting it live is like feeding a gremlin after midnight. The sooner it's gone, the less likely you'll find yourself on the receiving end of an unexpected surprise, you're dead. When it comes to playing the aerial game, you can channel your inner superhero. Torb can't really do much to you while you're in the air. Just make sure to avoid peeking his spam at all costs. The real boss here is the turret, so focus on dodging its angry fire like it's a hot potato while encouraging your teammates to take it out. And if you decide to take on a solo mission against it, strafe in and out of cover like you're trying to dodge your grandma's questions at a family reunion. Pre-aim your shots and it should be down in no time. If you see him healing his turret with his hammer, however, I would just avoid shooting it altogether, as the damage from your bullets is purely cosmetic at that point. Tracer.
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here!
AKA, the tiny annoyance that zips around like she's had one too many espressos. No offense to Tracer players, but I mean like, come on. Your best bet against the speedster is to stick close to your second support like you're on a double date. Safety in numbers, right? If you need to bail, you need to know the location of health packs like they're your favorite coffee shop. Or bathroom, that works too. A crucial tip is to call out every single time you see Tracer use her recall. That's your golden opportunity to turn the tables and send her back to spawn for a little timeout. And make sure you're not wandering alone in the wild. Tracer is easily like that annoying mosquito that you can't catch. She thrives on isolating her targets similar to many other dive heroes. Tracer's main weakness against you is her lack of vertical mobility. Try to play on surfaces that force her to burn through her blinks just to reach you. We definitely want her to break a sweat while trying to get you. And when she's hot on your trail, don't shy away from using your Glock. Most likely she'll win a 1v1 against you, but if you can force out her recall or make her retreat, congratulations! You've just leveled up the playing field. Remember, she can only blink in straight lines, so line yourself up like you're taking aim at a piñata, and let those truck-sized Barbie bullets fly. Finally, most Tracer players will immediately use recall after landing a pulse bomb. This means you can often sneak in an instant res without getting punished. It's like the universe gave you a freebie, so take advantage of it. Venture.
Bingus schmungus.
What's your best bet against this rocky fella? Getting airborne. When you're flying high, you can avoid their tectonic shock, like it's a bad dance move at a wedding, or someone really weird at a bar. As you dance above their miniature earthquakes, I want you to spam the piece of cake voice line. Let them know what you think of their tactics. If Venture gets too cozy and starts closing the distance, it's game over. You're toast. So keep that distance and don't be afraid to backpedal like you're trying to escape an awkward conversation. And here's a pro tip. Call out whenever you've used dig. That's their magical get out of jail free card. Use that info wisely and help your teammates go in for the kill when they're stuck on a cooldown. Widowmaker.
Ooh la la.
Surprise, surprise. I think you guessed it by now. Don't peek. Seriously, unless you're feeling lucky or are feeling like getting humbled, just don't do it. If you must engage her while using Valkyrie, try closing the distance and bobbing and weaving like you're in a game of dodgeball. Mix those crouch and jump keys like you're auditioning for a dance-off. The more unpredictable you are, the less likely she'll hit that sweet, sweet one-tap. And if your team can't kill her, sometimes you just gotta take matters into your own hands. Now, when Widowmaker activates her ultimate, you've got a 15 seconds of a, look at me, I'm a pretty Mercy main spotlight. During this time, you can be sure that everyone's going to be gunning for you, so keep your head on a swivel and make sure to blow them a kiss. Personally, I like to count down the seconds until she runs out of time, just so I can take a deep breath and remind myself that it's not personal. She just really wants to get that sweet, sweet pick on me, so play it safe and don't give her that satisfaction. Now that the big scary heroes are out of the way, let's move on to the supports. As a general support tip, remember that even though most supports aren't exactly the frontline warriors you need to worry about, don't let that trick you into a false sense of security. Try to keep your eyes peeled for out-of-position healers like they're the last cookie in the jar. If you spot any key abilities being used, make sure to call it out. Your team may not always be listening. They're probably too busy aiming and tunnel visioning. But don't let that stop you from practicing your announcer voice. Kiriko, out of position, aisle 5. I have a Kiriko, out of position, aisle 5. Thank you. Now for our first support hero, Ana.
Good kitty.
Ah, Ana, the grandma at the battlefield with a sniper rifle and a secret vendetta against your existence. The key to surviving her is to stay out of her line of sight. I wouldn't really consider pulling out your Glock in most scenarios, since she has so many abilities to defend herself as well as eliminate you. If you see one of your teammates get hit with her biotic grenade, don't be tempted to play the hero and try to heal them. Just let the anti-heal do its thing. Instead, focus on keeping everyone else's health up and damage boosting like you're a personal cheerleader at a game. Also, keep your ears perked for when you hear that whoosh of her sleep dart, or catch sight of her throwing that grenade. Call it out, as this is your team's cue to dive in like they're launching into the final battle of an action movie. It's time to make Granny retire. Baptiste.
Surviving and thriving.
Your main job is to play hard cover and keep an eye out for when he uses his lamp. And remember, never peek his window under any circumstance. Repeat after me. I will never peek his window under any circumstance unless I want to get humbled. Unless you're the type of person who claps when a plane lands, then please peek the window in that case. Brigitte.
Brigitte at your service.
Pretty simple hero, honestly. Tread carefully with those resurrects because her whip shot can send you flying like a pinball. Picture yourself trying to get a clutch res on a teammate only to get booped off into God knows where. Not exactly the heroic moment you were hoping for, so probably just don't do it. I'm not gonna do it, girl. I just was thinking about it. Other than that, just stay in the air and don't let her close the distance. Illari. Ping that pesky turret. If you don't neutralize it quickly, it'll be like trying to drown out a toddler's tantrum, just an endless stream of healing for the enemy team. And try to play cover against Illari, especially if she's using her ultimate. It has a massive hitbox and a lot of potential for collateral damage. If you find yourself in the blast zone, play cover and focus on healing your squishies. Remember, the more they're alive, the more you can heal yourself through that sympathetic recovery. And if your team explodes in a fiery demise and you somehow survive, don't be a hero. Just go ahead and die with them for a quick reset. Moving on. Kiriko.
I brought donuts.
Ah, the magical fox lady, aka Blizzard's fave. When she's got her sights set on you, it's time to take to the skies like you're auditioning for a role in a superhero movie. Or at least, a superhero that can fly, that is. Staying airborne will make it much harder for her to land those pesky shots on you. And pro tip, a lot of Kiriko players love to teleport in and pop Suzu. Almost as if they think they're invisible for a hot second. Spoiler alert, they're not. So when you see this, I need you to shout, "Kill her!" Like you're the captain of a pirate ship spotting treasure. Except, you need to kill the treasure. And the treasure is Kiriko. You get what I'm putting out? Lifeweaver. Ah, the floral healer. When facing off against Lifeweaver, don't hesitate to channel your inner baddie and use Valkyrie to swoop in and give a little Glock therapy. Even if you can't eliminate him, just knowing that he's too busy dodging your bullets to heal his team can bring a smile to your face and maybe a big frown to his. If you see him out of position or standing alone, make sure to ping him for your team. And if you see or hear him use his pole, it's on a cooldown, which means it's your golden opportunity to make a move on him or his teammates. But let's be real, most of the match is probably going to feel like a mutual healing party where you're both trying to keep your teams alive while sneaking in some cheeky shots at each other. Maybe a little wink or a kiss while you're at it. Why can't we just be friends? Lucio.
Have some Lucio-O's!
Lucio shouldn't be too much of a headache for you, but if you spot one in your backline, it's time to channel your inner team captain. Stay close to your squad and give him a ping. Nothing like a little teamwork will keep you safe. If he's got his sights set on you, remember that being airborne makes you a much trickier target to hit. And watch out, using Resurrect near him is asking for a one-way ticket to the respawn room, as he'll easily be able to boop you off and eliminate you. A sneaky little tactic is to bait out his boop by hovering over his soul and not actually going for the res. Let him knock you away first and then swoop back in for the save. And let's not forget about that sound barrier. Keep an ear out for when you think Lucio has it ready. There's nothing worse than a Genji with a blade ready to cut through the enemy, only for it to be wasted because Lucio decided to throw a party. Call it out to your team and make sure they focus on him before using any big ultimates. You want to bait it out first if you can. Mercy.
Helden sterben nicht.
Time to channel your inner Mercy master. Your mission? Outlive the enemy Mercy and secure your spot as the best Mercy in the lobby. You know your fellow Angel of Mercy well. Keep an eye out for when she's itching to resurrect a fallen teammate. Predict her moves and rally your team to guard those precious souls. Give them a friendly ping to let them know where she's lurking. A little teamwork goes a long way. Now if you and your enemy Mercy find yourselves on the same high ground, it's time to unleash your inner villain. Go ahead, break the unspoken Mercy code. Whip out that Barbie blaster and show her who's boss. Nothing like a little friendly fire to send her scurrying away, right? Just please don't get diffed, or you might have to swap and cry in a corner and maybe uninstall Overwatch while you're at it. In addition, both of you will probably be generating Valkyrie at the same time, so here's the game plan. Use yours proactively when your team is diving in. Damage boost like there's no tomorrow. The first Mercy to pump up her team's damage usually comes out on top. But if you spot a big enemy's ultimate brewing, like Ramatra's for example, hold on to your Valkyrie to save the day. You got this. Moira.
Hello there.
Ah, the Queen of Suck. Just remember to keep your distance, play nice, and stick around your other support or health pack if she's giving you the stink eye. Want to boost your survivability against Moira? Heal your injured teammates to activate your sympathetic recovery passive. It won't be enough to keep you alive completely, but think of it as a little defense boost. And as the most important tip for Moira, always call out whenever you see her use her fade. Ping her location if you see her, so everyone can capitalize on her moment of vulnerability. And if you notice a Moira is laser focused on you, try to stand still. Yeah, you heard me right. Channel your inner statue. Moira doesn't need to aim much, so the less you move, the easier it is for your other support to hit those crucial shots on you while you slowly get sucked. Finally, if Moira pops her coalescence, you've got a secret weapon, your Valkyrie. Activate it and watch your AoE healing throw a wrench in her plans. It's like bringing a fire extinguisher to a barbecue. She won't know what hit her. Or maybe she will, but like, she still can't do anything about it, so. Haha. Zenyatta.
Pass into the iris.
First things first, always ping a Zenyatta whenever you see him, like he's the last donut in the box. But like, you actually want this donut. It's still fresh, not crusty, not stale. You know, you get the point. Also, avoid standing in chokes unless you want to be the latest target of his balls of doom. Maybe I want to be the target. Never mind. Sorry. When you're seeing targets getting hit with that Discord orb, it's time to put on your healing superhero cape. And try to call out whenever you know Zenyatta's sitting on his Transcendence throne, meaning he's waiting to use his ultimate. Try to strategize around that. He won't be invincible. He just thinks he is. Once you bait it out, then he'll be vulnerable, and so will his team. And remember, similar to Lucio beat, nobody wants to use their Dragon Blade if they're gonna get a Transcendence in their face, so try to bait it out first by calling it out, and having people dive him. Now if you're feeling daring and decide to use Valkyrie to take a shot at Zen, just remember, don't get too cozy. His kicks pack a punch and you don't want to end up the Mercy kicked by Zen highlight reel. And Juno.
Very mindful, very demure.
As always, your best bet is to stay out of her line of sight. She'll do anything to lock onto you. If you hear that ominous beeping sound while she's charging her torpedoes, don't just stand there like a deer in the headlights. Scurry for cover. That 85 damage burst can turn you into a Mercy pancake real quick. And when you see her fire a torpedo, it's time for some quick reflexes. Try to figure out which direction it's coming from and dive behind cover like you're in an action movie. And believe me, this is extra crucial whenever she's in her ultimate mode. One hit from that torpedo can make you feel like you just got hit by a train. If Juno decides to play tag, don't panic. Stick with your teammates and use whatever you can for cover, even if it's that one tank who seems to always just be in the way. Maybe you just made them in the way on purpose. Just remember, you can easily heal off her damage, so don't hesitate to turn your teammates into human shields if needed. You're a Mercy, not a martyr. And that is all for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. If you learned something new, don't forget to drop a like and let me know in the comments. And feel free to comment below if you'd like to share a tip with your fellow Mercy mains if I didn't mention it. And if you made it this far, please make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. I'm working super hard to do full-time content creation and your support is free and it helps immensely. I also stream on Twitch every Tuesday through Friday at 7 PM Central Time, so check me out at twitch.tv/sirenoboi. Check out my caption for all my links to all my socials such as my TikTok, my Twitter, my Discord, Twitch, etc. And if you want to join in on community events or see whenever I go live, definitely join that Discord. I appreciate your time and thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone!